Something went wrong, please try again later. Get the inside track on the big stories from Liverpool Crown Court with our weekly newsletter. A drug-dealing taxi driver who partied in Ibiza used private hire vehicles as a cover for cocaine, cannabis, and ketamine plots. Anthony Lonergan traded 76 kilograms of cannabis, 3.8 kilograms of cocaine, and 3 kilograms of ketamine between March 2020 and June 2020 alone on EncroChat. As lockdown rules made keeping a low profile more difficult, he arranged handovers from taxis to avoid the attention of police. Read more. Son accused of killing dad just days before his 80th birthday. But the young private hire driver was busted as a result of the EncroChat hack and revealed as the man behind the handle PalacePuma. Detectives were able to nail him thanks to other dealers talking about his day job, and Lonergan chatting about a holiday he'd booked to Ibiza. And photos from his social media show him later enjoying a pool party on the Balearic Island. Liverpool Crown Court heard the 25-year-old of Lewis Walk, Kirkby, was involved in the lucrative plots to supply Class A and B drugs even while serving a community order for his involvement with a cannabis farm. Police recovered his encrypted messages between March 26, 2020 and June 4, 2020 as part of the EncroChat hack. However, the notes section from the PalacePuma profile showed tick lists and ledgers dating back to November 9, 2019. A note created that day set out deals for flake slang for cocaine and ket, which is short for ketamine. That note was modified on December 29 that year, when Lonergan recorded flake transactions of £25,745. Charles Lander, prosecuting, explained in court documents that Lonergan had 29 contacts stored on his device. In January 2020, he created a note recording deals for Paul's and Hayes cannabis and cannabis resin, totaling £16,000. Prosecutors said Lonergan used his EncroChat device to buy drugs, then sold them on in smaller amounts using a separate graft phone. Sometimes he would send associates to carry out handovers, but he also carried out deals himself, as he supplied increasing amounts of cannabis from January to March 2020. Mr. Lander said, of note, the defendant was licensed as a private hire driver and the messages suggest that he uses, on occasions, other private hire vehicles to conduct certain transactions. As the court will be aware, the beginning of the national lockdown commenced towards the end of March 2020 and therefore the roads were particularly quiet save for essential key worker travel, and the use of taxis would be less likely to attract the attention of the police. Get our free EncroChat Files newsletter. Liverpool's courts are some of the busiest in the UK, with a huge variety of cases being heard each week. To get a behind-the-scenes look at how they work and the moments that don't make our stories, subscribe to our free weekly EncroChat Files newsletter, written by court reporter Neil Docking. How do I sign up? It's free, easy and takes no time at all. First, just click on this link to our newsletter sign-up center. Once you're there, put your email address where it says at the top, then click on the EncroChat Files button. There are other newsletters available too, if you want them as well. When you've made your choice, press the Save Changes button at the bottom. Court documents showed, for example, on March 26, 2020 he spoke to EncroChat user, Frost Fortress, and arranged the sale of 5 kilos of Paul's. A postcode was given and Lonergan arranged for an associate to attend in a blue Audi taxi. Detectives examining Lonergan's messages saw other dealers referring to him as Ant or Tony and mentioning he was a taxi driver, while PalacePuma was wished happy birthday on April 4, 2020, Lonergan's birthday. Mr. Lander said, PalacePuma also refers to the fact that on June 4, 2020, he had booked a holiday to Ibiza and records confirm that the defendant booked a holiday to Ibiza that day. The court heard Lonergan had one previous conviction for producing cannabis and abstracting electricity, relating to a cannabis farm police raided in Redwood Way, Kirkby on September 2, 2018. He was handed a 12-month community order, including unpaid work, on May 5, 2020. In EncroChat messages as PalacePuma, he referred to this conviction and the fact he had to do community hours, but prosecutors said the order didn't deter him from his drug dealing. They said on May 23, 2020, in a long chat with EncroChat user Bullmouth Prescott, drug dealer Mark Dumble Lonergan told him, "Got a belter weed phone in Southport now," which prosecutors said meant he was running a graft cannabis phone in Southport. Mr. Lander said, "Business is clearly good for the defendant as he states he has got a driver, courier, and bangers, cash up there." Texts showed Lonergan explaining that he and his associates had paid £5,500 for the graft phone. Lonergan said it's non-stop, and that he hadn't got a minute spare as he was selling anything from an 1/8 to an ounce, and people were also onto him for a few ounce. On May 26, 2020, he told Bullmouth he needed someone to answer his phone, because he didn't get a minute. Mr. Lander said, "It appears the defendant is struggling to combine his work as a taxi driver with his drugs business, as he comments, can't work on the taxes." On May 28, Lonergan told Bullmouth that me driver in Southport has been nicked, but Mr. Lander said that didn't stop him arranging drug deliveries later that same day. Mr. Lander said police tried to find Lonergan to arrest him for the plots, but it wasn't until October 21, 2021, that he attended Walton Lane Police Station in connection with an unrelated matter, and was arrested, before he gave a no-comment interview. Join our Liverpool Court Cases Facebook group. Join more than 56,000 other people who are members of our Liverpool Court Cases and Crime Stories Facebook group, and you'll get access to all the latest stories from court reporter Neil Docking. It will feature reports from Liverpool Crown Court and crime cases connected to Merseyside. To join and get updates, click here, and you can also follow Neil's Facebook page here. You can also sign up to our court newsletter here and get a twice-weekly roundup of court cases sent your email inbox for free. Lonergan admitted conspiracies to supply cocaine, cannabis, cannabis resin, and ketamine. He pleaded guilty on a basis, accepted by the prosecution, that he regularly sourced 4.5 ounces of cocaine, which he then sold on via his graft phone, rather than source or supply multi-kilo quantities of that drug. Lonergan also entered his pleas on the basis that while his profits were significant, they weren't vast. David Birrell, defending, told the court his remorseful client was still a young man. It would be his first prison sentence, and he was assessed by the probation service as being a low risk of reoffending. The judge, recorder Ian Harris, said Lonergan had played a leading role in the drug plots. Recorder Harris said he would have sentenced Lonergan to 14 years in prison after a trial. But giving him full credit for his guilty pleas, he reduced this by 1/3 to 9 years and 4 months. Speaking after the case, Detective Inspector Mike Dalton of Merseyside Police said, "Our work to find those responsible for supplying Class A and B drugs across Merseyside continues. We rely on our local communities to be our eyes and ears as part of these investigations, and I would continue to urge people to come forward if they have information which could assist us. If you have any information about people dealing drugs in your area, you can message at Merpol CC or at Crime Stoppers UK, or call Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. Receive newsletters with the latest news, sport and what's on updates from the Liverpool Echo by signing up here.